have to start with the fact that I was a boy. I was a naive 16-year-old boy who didn't understand the gravity that I was in. When I heard the judge say, you will be in prison for 30 years to life plus life, when you're a child, you can't even comprehend what that even means. You're still working on a very week to week basis or month to month. You can't even foresee a year in your life at that age. But eventually when I got to, the institution that I was being held in, it became very real at that point. Luckily for me, I realized that I couldn't accept this. I couldn't just sit around and say, well, this is it. This is the end of my story. And so I began advocating for myself. The evidence used to convict me was an eyewitness who testified that they had seen me commit the crime. And the way that came about was they were showing a photographic lineup, and it was just 6 pictures, and the witness was asked to pick one of the photographs. And so they did, and I was arrested for it. I see him as a victim as well, having no power to say, no, I don't want to play along, or having no influence on his own life to say, I didn't say anything. Instead, he was just doing what they wanted him to do. And so I've met with him. He and I, Scott Turner, he and I are not the best of friends, but, we might have lunch every so often. And, I think that he's also just one of the victims that was taken advantage of by the system.
I think the single biggest surprise to me in my story or in the stories I directed about Franky was that the general public, myself included, all of us raised on crime stories, movies, books, have an incredible misperception of the value of eyewitness testimony. And we are raised to think from years of watching shows about it and movies about it and just thinking about it and talking about it, that if someone stands or sits in a jury box in a courtroom and says, I saw him, he did it, he's the one, that's incontrovertible evidence, and how could that person be wrong, and the person that they're pointing to must be guilty. And the percentage of times that's flawed and the reasons that it's flawed were really, really surprising to me.
I think the work of the Innocence Project has been life-changing obviously for me, but also for a lot of people. When I was first arrested, there was no Innocence Project. There was that organization didn't exist. I think most people run away from big problems like this, involving wrongful convictions, involving all the elements, the court, the Constitution, law enforcement, witnesses, all the emotional components as well. But for these people to run towards it and to say we're going to defend these people is amazing.